Yo, Sounding people. All right, so today I want to talk about Northern Star by Melanie C. Melanie C, former Spice Girls, or maybe actually current Spice Girl, actually. We'll talk about that as well. But shout out to everybody who suggested this album. We've got a bunch of people suggesting this album. Probably the most suggested album I've got out of all the albums I've got suggested. It's been a few, so appreciate everybody who's made any kind of suggestion. But yeah, this is, I think, easily the biggest, the most suggested album from you guys. Northern Star by Melanie C, released way back in 1999. And let me correct a few things that I said in my Melanie C album review video. So the Spice Girls actually split. Well, here's the thing. Jerry Halliwell left in 1998. However, the Spice Girls continued until 2000. That's when they officially split. This album was released in 1999, so it was actually released before they disbanded. However, what I've also learned is that the Spice Girls are still performing. I didn't realize that. They are, well, I say still performing, they do like shows every few years or so. And they had a tour, believe, for 2019, and then one for 2020 going into 2021, but Corona, and we'll see what happens there. However, with the next tour, the current tour, or whichever tour it turns out to be, Victoria is not with them. So it's all the Spice Girls except Vicky B. So Spice Girls are technically still around. They haven't recorded new music, but they are doing shows every so often and tours and things like every so often. Melanie C is, however, still the only Spice Girl that's currently releasing new music. Emma Bunton kind of released some new music last year, but there's a few years, and again, not knocking it, just is what it is. She is still being the only one that's putting out new music every sort of 3-4 years, for new albums and things like that. So she's got, I think, like the last one was like 8th album, but this we're talking about is her first album. So I've done the last album, now I'm doing the first album, Northern Star. And so let's talk about this. So yeah, a few themes come up throughout this album, a few different themes, but I feel like the main theme really focuses around things like unrequited love or love in different situations and that kind of thing. That seems to be like the theme most of this album. But yeah, let's talk about some of the songs, or at least a few of the songs. I don't think it's about all the songs, there's quite a few. I want to talk about some of my favorite songs from this album. So the first one is called Go, and this is kind of like, has that kind of 60s, 70s, groovy funk kind of vibe to it, which is really cool. Like something you might hear in like an old Batman movie or something, just kind of the type of thing that you do, like the what do you call it, the what's that dance called? The the hammer, I think it's called, or the swim. I don't even know what these dances are called, but those old school 60s dances, that's the type of music. This talks about that type of music that you do those dances to. Anyway, the song itself is, for what I can say, is about like a relationship, or leaving a relationship more specifically. Relationship is no longer working for her, and she feels like she needs to get away from that. She used to love this guy, but she can't anymore. She's recognizing that it's just not working out, and she needs to go do another. That's not even how it goes, actually. But for me, I feel like it's really just about recognizing when something isn't working out and taking those steps to move away. There's one line that she says in this song, though, where she says it started in another dimension, and I feel like that's really like a metaphor for just being in a completely different place, like where they were when the relationship started and where she is now. It may as well be like a whole new dimension. They're just a complete different place. I think that's what the metaphor there is. Like, she's starting another dimension, but now, look, I'm here now, and wherever you are is where you are, but we're just completely different places. I need to go and get another direction. So yeah, that's that song. The next song, Northern Star, I want to talk about, which is the title track of this album, Northern Star. And I feel like Northern Star has a few different meanings in this case. So Northern Star is a term used for like a guiding star, follow the Northern Star, or follow. There's all kinds of stars you can use for guides, but a Northern Star, I believe, is one of them. So it's like a guiding star. But in this case, consider the fact that Melanie C is from the Midlands, like sort of near Liverpool type area, which is just about, well, as the name suggests, about the middle of England. However, British people are kind of stupid sometimes. Like we're not all too clever. So pretty much anybody outside of London is a northerner, right? That's how that works. If you're not in London, you're a northerner. So I feel like in this case, Northern Star refers to herself as well, and in particular looking to herself as a guide, because she uses what she says, it's well, I'm looking at the wrong notes, my bad. I have learnt my lesson well, and she talks about, they buy your dreams to sell your soul, which I think could be referring to, think could be referring to perhaps experiences in the music industry and how people treat you, and people maybe come across as they're really for you, but then you kind of realize that they're really just all about themselves and don't really care too much about you at all. They don't really care what you're going through, just as long as you do what they need you to do or do what they want you to do. And she's kind of recognizing maybe that she needs to move away from those types of people, whether it's people in the music industry or maybe just people just in general, any type of person that just is toxic and isn't really good for you. You kind of have to take a step back and be like, you know what, you do you, I'ma do me, So I feel like she's looking to herself as her own guiding star and trusting her own intuition to recognize things that aren't good for her and recognize what is good for her, and following her own guiding star as to get to a place where she wants to be. But let's talk about If That Were Me, which is probably the most different song on the album. This one is about homelessness, but I guess it's not super different. I mean, fundamentally, it's about compassion. So it talks about people being homeless and how we in society treat people in these situations, and we sometimes we don't even make eye contact with them. You kind of turn away and that kind of thing. But she's asking questions like, where do you go when it's cold? When it's raining and there's things like that. Just really trying to understand what people who are in that position go through. She asks the question, how did you fall? Or did you fall at all? Which I feel acknowledges that not everyone who is homeless through their own fault. Things happen so far outside of your control sometimes that leads to being homeless. And I think what we don't always realize is that a lot of us are very close to being homeless without really realizing that. And I think this pandemic that we're going through now really emphasizes, at least for me, it emphasizes that we are so close to being homeless. I mean, think about this thing that just happened, and so many people have been, losing money, losing their jobs, struggling to get new work. People have lost their homes already. And in the UK, and I think in other countries as well, they have a rule where, if you're renting, you can't be kicked out of your apartment while we're in this, some states of lockdown, which is great, right? You can't be kicked out, but once it's over, you can be owing 6, 7 months, 8 months or more worth of rent at any one time. And even if you have like a payment deal or something, that's still a massive amount to take on. And if you're struggling to pay it now, it might not just all of a sudden, now I've got this money, it might not go that way. So yeah, I feel like one of the things this pandemic has emphasized for me is that a lot of us are really close to being homeless without even realizing. So when we see people in the street, we kind of have this attitude of, oh, they're just there, they're just drunks, they're just this, they're doing drugs and they're doing this and doing that. And we don't really consider that things happen that aren't always within your control, or, that you can only do anything about, and it's just unfortunate results of all that. But we kind of have the attitude of like just looking past them and not really caring, not giving anything. But yeah, as Melanie points out, that I might give you some change, but what does that really do? She does have a line in the song though, which I think is really important, because she starts off saying, how did you fall? Did you fall at all? Which I think acknowledges that it's not always their fault. However, towards the end of the song, she says, how did we fall? And can we get up at all? So I feel like that is referencing that we as in society have fallen, in our way, in the way that we treat people. That is a fall. The way that we view people in those situations, that is our fall. And can we get up? So it's not did we fall? No, we have fallen. The question now is, can we get up? So can we start to treat people with more compassion? Can we start to care about other people? Can we start to, see that things happen to people that isn't necessarily their fault, and help where we can? Can we start to do that? Can we start to, love one another more as humans? So yeah, that's big up to Melanie C for that one. All right, so the next song I want to talk about is Never Be the Same Again, and this is probably my favorite song on the album. I remember when this came out, Melanie C featuring Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Rest in peace to Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She was in a group called TLC, and she died in 2002. TLC were awesome. If you know about the 90s, and you know about TLC, and Lisa Left Eye Lopez was a very important part of that group. She did a lot of the rapping and things like that. Crazy Sexy Cool, fantastic album. If you don't know about Crazy Sexy Cool, called TLC. Check that out. That's my recommendation. You guys recommended me this album. I'm recommending you that album, TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool. They did a lot of great stuff. Fan Mail's another great album as well by TLC, but Crazy Sexy Cool is probably the one that put them really on the map, that really made them TLC, where everybody started paying attention to them. So yeah, that's the one to check out. But anyway, so yeah, Lisa Left Eye Lopez featured on this track, Never Be the Same Again, and this song was a banger when it came. I actually forgot how good this song was until I started hearing it again recently. I was like, man, I can't believe I forgot how good this song is. This song is a banger, Never Be the Same Again. But yeah, it's about unrequited love. The only thing I'll say about this song though, and perhaps it's just me not understanding certain things, but I'm not sure if Melanie is the one that fancies this guy and that guy doesn't like her back, or if it's the guy that fancies Melanie and Melanie doesn't like him back, because it does seem like it goes back and forth a little bit. Like one part she's talking about nothing venture, nothing gain, and things like that, and the chorus is, I thought that we would just be friends, things would never be the same again. So I'm not sure which one's which, but in any case, it seems to be about unrequited love. You know, you love somebody, they don't feel the same way, and I think a lot of us, maybe even all of us, have been in a situation that I know I've been in plenty of situations like that, where I liked someone and they didn't like me in the same way, and it's like, oof, that oof. And for the most part, it's like it is what it is. But every now and then, I think I could think of a few situations, maybe back in school, where your emotions are just like wild back then. So when you fall for somebody, you fall hard, right? And then it's trying to go from being a friend to more than friends, and when you finally build up enough courage to ask that person out or to say something, and it's very abundantly clear that they do not feel the same way back, like, they'll tell you pretty much. It's tough, man. It's tough. But as the song is called, it never be the same again. And that's just the truth of the matter, is that you can't just go back to, oh, we're just friends again. Nothing, you can't do that. I think anytime, whether you're a young person or older person, anytime you find yourself in a situation where you like somebody a lot and they don't feel the same way back, then you just got to take a step back, really. And it's sad, but I feel that's the real way to deal with it. The only real way to deal with it is that, because you need to be able to deal with your feelings. You can't be friends with somebody if you're in love with them and they don't feel the same back, because you're always going to feel that, right? That's always going to be a pain for you. So you really need to, I feel like you really need to just take a step back, be away from that person for a while, take as long as you need, experience other things as much as you can, let these emotions out, and then hopefully eventually, once you are kind of over that person, maybe then you could try to go back to reconciling a relationship, a friendship with that person. And I think if that person is a friend, they'll understand that that's what you need to do, to hang around with somebody that you really, really like and they don't like you. That's all you can think of. It's tough. That's a tough thing, and you need to be able to get away. You need to be able to get over that, rather than just like wallow in it. And the only real way you can get over it, you need two things: time and distance. That's what it comes down to. When you need to get over something, you need time and you need distance. And a friend would understand that, where they just have to say, you know what, you need to do what you need to do so that we can hopefully get back to being friends. But until then, that one's personal. That one's personal. Been in a few situations like that. That one's personal. So the next song I want to talk about is called Why. And I kind of feel like this one is a sequel of sorts to Never Be the Same Again, because she talks about a relationship ending and crying for someone that doesn't like her back, because that feels like all she can do. So I feel like this is maybe her dealing with the fact that maybe she went after this person, they didn't like her, now she maybe taking a step back for herself, but all she can do is cry. And to be honest, sometimes that's all you can do. You need to take a step back, cry, let it out, let those emotions out. There's no shame in crying, man. No shame in just letting it out, but that's part of the healing process. It's just like letting all of that out. And yeah, just sit in your bed, lie in your bed, cry out, just soak your bed sheets up with tears. If that's what you need to do, it's what you need to do. This is part of, coming to terms with it. There's an interesting line in the song though, where she mentions sugar pills, which I believe is a reference to placebos, and I'm not entirely sure how that fits into the rest of the song. A placebo, for those who might not know, is a pill that a doctor might give you, but the pill itself doesn't actually do anything. However, they won't tell you that it doesn't do anything. They'll tell you that it cures whatever illness you have. What it comes down to is that if you think you have an illness or a condition, and a doctor doesn't think you have an illness or a condition, they'll give you a sugar pill and tell you that it's nitro, qualiloxone, whatever, but it's actually just a sugar pill. And because you think it's curing something, then it cures it, or at least potentially that's kind of the plan. They also use it in like clinical trials as well, where they're testing out different drugs. They'll give like half the people a drug and half the people a placebo. General idea is just to test what happens and how people react if they think they're getting something but they're actually getting something else, and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure how that fits into this song. I'm sure there's a metaphor somewhere that I'm not getting, but it's an interesting metaphor. I just don't think I understand it or can make any kind of connection to what the rest of the song is about. But if you have any ideas about that, let me know. The next one I'll talk about is Suddenly Monday, which deals with the feeling of being with somebody that you like and they like you back, and you're just having a good time and you're having fun. But then all of a sudden the weekend's over and you're back to work again. It's like, oh man, where's the whole thing about time flies when you're having fun. I think that's what this song is really trying to focus on, when you're just with somebody and you're just enjoying that moment and you're just so engrossed and it just in that zone and in that moment, we're just having fun and having a great time. And then all of a sudden it's like, snap back to reality. Whoop, there goes gravity. It's just like that, right? And it sucks, right? It sucks when it all get back to work. But at the same time, it's something to look forward to as well. It's something to be like, maybe it's ended for this weekend, but next weekend, God willing, it'd be like, yeah, I'll be there. So I feel like that's that feeling that's trying to deal with, just a whole losing track of time and just enjoying that someone else's company and just not really thinking about all your problems, all your worries, or your this, your that, and everything else is going on. You can just be just completely in that moment with this person. And those moments, if you have moments like that, cherish them, because they don't seem to come very often, at least not that I see. But hey, yeah, they're good when you get them. So cherish those moments. So the last song I want to talk about is called Gaga, and I think this is about sometimes you love the wrong person, right? Sometimes you fall for somebody and they're just not right for you, and it may not necessarily be that they're a bad person, so to speak. It's just sometimes you're not necessarily compatible, right? There's all kinds of reasons why that is. But I think in this particular case with the song, it's probably a bad person. But anyway, sometimes you like somebody, but they don't. But you recognize that they're not right for you, and they're not right for you. But you still like him anyway, right? You still kind of have those feelings for them anyway. But yeah, you recognize that. Look, I need to be away from this situation. I need to get away from this. As much as you kind of, part of you like wants to be there, you really the smarter side of you is like, you know what? I can't be here. I need to go. I need to be away. I can't be going crazy gaga over this person. But she uses a line in this song where she says, "Don't want your train stopping at my station," which I think Melanie, I think I know what you might be talking about. I won't say it. there might be young ears listening right now, but I think I know what you're talking about. You don't want you don't want to park their big Mack truck in your little garage, as Cardi B might put it. Except Cardi B wanted that, so a little bit different there. But you know how some trains don't stop at all the stations; they just kind of go through. But I guess in this case, you don't necessarily want them going through either. You just want them just go past, just go around. Not this station. You're not stopping at this station. Not going through the station. Just go around. Just go around. Go to wherever you're going. And you don't want to be bothered with it, because you recognize that this is not where you need to be. You might like the person, you might be going a bit gaga crazy, but you recognize that, you know what? You can't be here. You can't be here. Just keep that train going. Keep that train going. But anyway, yeah, so that's my thoughts on Northern Star album by Melanie C. Her debut album released back in 1999. Big up to everybody who recommended that I listen to this album. Banger, wanger, definitely a banger for me. It's just a cool all-round album with some great songs and great messaging, and yeah, some of those messages kind of hit a little bit personal with some of those ones. So yeah, this is a banger for me. Let me know if it's a banger for you, a banger or a wanger. Let me know. And if you've got any other suggestions, recommendations, drop in the comments and I'll try and get to them as best as I can. But that's gonna be it for the minute. So guys, until whenever, if ever, peace.